I said, why? What happened? He's like, Justin Bieber got arrested. So about probably 5 or 6 years ago, we had one of the most interesting experiences of my entire life. From 2010 to 2018, we operated and owned one of the largest exotic car rental businesses, or I would say legitimate businesses, in Miami. One of the most interesting calls I ever got was one night, I'm in bed, probably like 12:30 at night, and I get a phone call. It's a very large concierge in Miami, and he's like, John, I hate to bother you right now, but Justin Bieber wants to rent a Lamborghini. And at the time, I mean, Justin Bieber was probably at the height of his career. He had a bunch of big singles. He had a bunch of like gossip and all these different things. He was getting into trouble, I think, at the time as well. My response was, okay, great. What is he looking for? No, he just wants his security to have something for the night. He's going to take this girl out. Okay, so I get out of bed. I call one of my employees, and I'm like, okay, we're going to go get this car. I get another call back. Can you bring over 2 cars? Now it's like 1:30 a.m. I have the cars out. We get an address, and we're told to deliver the cars to this address. And meanwhile, I'm texting back and forth with this concierge. And I'm like, well, does he have a license? Can you send me some information? What is he going to pay? Like, what am I doing here? Like, is this a business transaction or what is it? And he basically texted me back and he said, hey, listen, if you give him the cars for the evening, his security is going to drive the cars. He currently does not have a license. He'll make a post on Instagram. And I forget exactly how many followers Justin Bieber had at the time, but he had a lot. I mean, my guess was 10, 20, maybe even 30 million followers. I think at the time we were just sort of starting our Instagram campaigns and launching on Instagram, and we had maybe 20,000 followers or something like that. I get the address. I agree. Cool. Justin Bieber makes an Instagram post. It's cool for press. It's not the biggest thing in the world, but it's cool. And I drive the cars over to this address. Realize when I pull up, I'm actually at Little Wayne's skate park. So I pull up and there's all these, I guess you could say it like borderline thugs. I mean, guys that probably aren't thugs, but because they're in the music industry, they've got like grills and no t-shirts on and their pants hanging down. So it's definitely an interesting dynamic. And I pull up in Lamborghini LP 550-2 Spider. A very cool car, pearl yellow, the Giallo yellow over black and yellow interior. So it did stand out. And the other car we brought actually was the one of 499 Ferrari 16M Scuderia Spider, which is a special car. I think we're probably the only company ever to rent one of the cars. That was where my passion sort of came into the Lulavi business, was buying this 16M. So I'm sort of sitting waiting for the cars. Now an hour goes by. It's like probably like 2 a.m., something like that. And guess who comes out? Justin Bieber. So now his entourage, everybody, and obviously, I mean, not that I was starstruck by any means. I wasn't a Justin Bieber fan. Maybe not today even, but he's a talented kid, but just not my forte. And he comes out, very nice young man. He's like, hello, thank you so much. And he takes this picture of himself in front of the car. And I realize that his head of security is actually a friend of mine. So I start talking to the head of security. He's like, don't worry, John. I'm going to take the cars. I'll take responsibility. He can't drive. He doesn't have a license. We'll handle everything. I had gone back to my house, gone to bed, and I noticed my Instagram started going crazy. So he made this tag. And it was, thank you, Lulavi, at Lulavi, for these cars. And it was a photo of him with his shirt off and his boxers hanging and stuff. It was a cool photo, in pop culture context. Our Instagram exploded. I'd never seen anything like it. To this day, Lulavi had about 100,000 followers, and I think we gained 5,000 followers in minutes. It was crazy. I sort of drift off to sleep and realize I'm awoken abruptly to my phone going crazy. Oh God, what is this? This is not normal. So I pick up the phone and it's his security, and he's like, hey, John, we got a problem. My immediate reaction was like, oh my God, somebody wrecked the car, something happened. And I'm thinking, is everyone okay? And his answer is no. I'm like, uh-oh, it's not good. I said, why? What happened? He's like, Justin Bieber got arrested. And I laugh when I say it because it was like, huh? Jump in the car, I fly over there, I pull up, and literally in front of me is the yellow Gallardo, the red Ferrari 16M, and I noticed that Justin Bieber's in the car and basically being arrested, being told his rights and being removed from the car. And one of his friends was driving the 16M, still waiting in the car. So at this point, I'm watching from a distance and I see he is getting arrested. And I'm like, okay. So I go over to the cops and I, maintain my composure. I'm like, hello, officer. How are you? I'm the owner of the company, blah, blah, blah. And the officer is not happy. Basically tells me in a nice way to get the hell out of here. And I tell him, sir, if you don't mind, instead of impounding the cars, I don't know what situation's going on. I'm glad no one was hurt. Do you mind if I take the cars? I mean, these are sensitive cars. They aren't cars you're going to grab on a wrecker. So he realizes that. And he looks at me and he's like, no, cars aren't going anywhere. So I'm like, whoa. Okay. I try to go over to the cops again. I asked them, hey guys, do you mind? I really don't want a wrecker or a flatbed picking up the cars. You could damage the cars. They're like, nope. We're taking the cars to the impound. So at this point, I'm a little ticked off. I was being very polite, and I watch as the cops get in the cars and drive the cars away. I ended up going back home. I went to bed. 7:30 rolls around. I normally wake up around 8 a.m. at this point, and my phone is exploded. I'm getting phone calls, emails, text messages, and within minutes, I realized that the entire world is talking about Justin Bieber getting arrested in a yellow Lamborghini in Miami. It must have been a drought in news at this moment because this story was everywhere, absolutely viral. I get up, I'm getting phone calls from producers, people want interviews. I mean, it was absolutely insane. So I realized I was gonna have an interesting day, to say the least. I get into the office. My first goal is to get the cars back from impound. They were sitting at an impound yard in South Beach. And really it wasn't about answering questions yet. It was about, okay, let's get the cars back to the office. Let's figure this out. Let's then assess everything. Now at this point, I'm in the office. The door's closed. And I'm just working. I'm calling our flatbed guy, Marley. And I'm like, hey, can you go send 2 flatbed? Yeah, I'll send. So I'm just processing everything. The cars get picked up and somebody calls me and they're like, hey, your cars are on the news. And I'm like, no, I know, no, your cars are literally live on the news. So apparently there were helicopters above the impound yard filming as the flatbeds were taking out the yellow Lamborghini and red Ferrari. So literally my cars were live via satellite or whatever, leaving the impound yard, going through South Beach on the flatbeds, and literally ending up at our showroom. I stayed inside. I actually had the door locked in the showroom. I was still getting more calls. I think that day, within the first couple hours, I fielded about 80 requests for an interview. We didn't really have a big PR team. I mean, we were essentially a small company. We owned 15, 20 cars. It's not like we had a big PR team. It was me running the Instagram and our marketing. At the time, I really wanted to respect his privacy. Whatever he was going through, he was actually still in jail at that moment. He's still, technically, he wasn't a client, but I wanted to let people know we respect the privacy of our clients. So I literally told all the reporters by phone and by email, listen, we are retrieving our cars now. I won't talk about the matter. I won't talk about Justin Bieber, but you guys are welcome to stop by our showroom and maybe, if you want to see the cars or anything like that, that's what we can do. We can tell you about our company. That worked out incredibly well for press and media. I have to say, probably around 10 a.m., 11 a.m., I go to open our front door and there's literally 15, 20 news trucks, reporters, microphones. I mean, I felt like I was a celebrity for the day. But what was wild to me was that everyone was interested in the story. So we opened our doors, the cars arrived on the flatbeds. I mean, the helicopters were over. What was interesting was that we had GPS in all of our cars. One of the first things I did that morning was I wanted to check the GPS and I wanted to see, my God, how fast was Justin Bieber driving if he got a reckless driving charge? What was wild was the GPS showed sort of pinging the entire movements he made. And at no point did he actually even go over 40 miles per hour. So what I think potentially happened was, the 16M was especially loud. I can't confirm if it was a modified exhaust or something along those lines, but I'm sure in first gear going up to 40 miles per hour, 16M was very loud. It probably sounded like a race car through residential streets. I think at certain points it could even show him doing like 25 miles per hour, 30 miles per hour. And I think by the end of the day, the very famous attorney, Roy Black, who was representing Justin at one point or a certain point, called me, and his manager, Scooter Braun, called me and asked for those records. I was happy to supply them with the records. I actually then got a call from the Florida state attorney, supplied them with those records. I said, listen, these are pretty accurate, our GPS readings. I don't know exactly what happened. He wasn't supposed to be driving the cars, but we did have GPS in them. So I think the reckless driving charges were dropped because of our GPS records. It's not like he was abusing the cars or anything like that. So we were happy about that at least. So imagine at that point in the Miami industry, a Lamborghini Gallardo Spider would probably get about $1,500 a day. And the Ferrari, let's say maybe a touch more because it was unique, $1,700 a day. The media impressions and the amount of backlinks and Instagram followers and all of this sort of buzz around this story, you could argue that it would have cost us maybe more than $500,000 to duplicate that. So us giving him the cars for less than $3,500 definitely paid off. I'd like to say I'm a marketing genius, but could have never have planned for Justin Bieber getting arrested in Miami.
True negotiation starts with finding the right car, and the best way to do that is with Autotempest.com. Autotempest allows you to compare the results from Craigslist nationally with all the top listing sites. So visit Autotempest.com today and see where your next dream car is hiding.